Hey everyone, welcome to 10% Happier Live. My name's Oren, if we haven't met. Dan Harris is on a day off, so it'll just be us today. He's doing all right. Happy to be here with you. 10% Happier does this every weekday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, noon Pacific. The idea is to give you a short break during your day, check your head, de-stress. We'll talk a little bit about hope today. I'll lead a short 5-minute meditation, whether you're just starting out or you've been meditating for years. I'll walk you through the steps. And then we'll have some time at the end for question and answer. If we haven't met, my name is Oren Jay Sofer. I'm an author. I have a couple of books out, one called Say What You Mean, which is about bringing better communication skills into our relationships and life. The other is called Teaching Mindfulness to Empower Adolescents. I teach meditation and communication around the country, leading retreats and workshops, and these days doing it here from my home in Richmond, California, online. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about hope. This pandemic has been going on now for several months, and I don't know about you, but it can really start to weigh on the heart. From the ordinary mundane things of being locked into our homes, not being able to go outside and see friends, to some of the more serious situations we're dealing with, losing loved ones, not being able to see loved ones, economic stress, unemployment, hunger. I mean, the list goes on, right? So when I look at the situation, it can feel naive to have hope. Sometimes it's like, wow, things are really heavy. And sometimes when we think about hope, we think about, oh, things will get better in the future. And that can feel a little bit unrealistic, right? We've all been around the block enough to know that who knows what's going to happen. Things will change, they will get better in time, but who knows when. So I wanted to share a little bit about a time in my life where I was facing a lot of hopelessness and really struggling, and some of the things that I learned about hope that I think might be helpful, that hopefully will support you in this time as the weeks turn into months and go on. So a number of years ago, I got pretty sick with a chronic illness, and we all know what it's like to be sick. It's no fun. Body's in pain. You can't think clearly. You feel tired. And usually when we get sick with a cold or the flu, it lasts for a few days, a week, maybe 10 days, if it's really bad. And we get better. So this particular time, the symptoms went on week after week after month. Headaches, fatigue, my body hurt. And I remember this one particular evening, I was staying with my father in New Jersey, laid out on the couch. And not only was I feeling physically not well, but I was feeling miserable and just really sorry for myself. And had just been going through these mental loops and emotional loops of feeling afraid. How long is this going to go on? Am I ever going to be able to work again? And then beating myself up for getting sick, blaming myself, going back over the events and thinking, what if I had done this differently? What if I had done that differently? Fortunately, at this particular time in my life, I'd already been practicing meditation for like at least 15 years. So I was bringing a level of mindfulness and awareness to the emotions and the thoughts that were happening. I would still get caught in them sometimes. Other times I was able to step back and not get too involved. This particular moment, I was really suffering, feeling a lot of despair and hopelessness, feeling sorry for myself, having a very dark picture of the future. So I'm lying there on the couch, and the practice kind of returned, the sense of awareness comes back, and I was, wow, I'm really making myself miserable right now. And the reality became more clear. It was sort of like stepping back, instead of having the sense of what I might call ordinary hope, where we're painting a picture of an imagined future where everything is better, right? And when we do that, what happens? Well, if that future doesn't come to pass, we feel crushed, right? Where we crash afterwards. And I realized I had been kind of going through these cycles of, okay, I'm going to see this doctor, I'm going to try that medicine, and then it's going to get better. And as every deadline passed, I would feel more down. So I took a step back inside and kind of assessed the situation. Said, okay, well, the reality is that I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know when I'll get better, if I'll get better. What I do know is that there is the possibility of getting better. And I'm doing everything I can right now. I'm seeing the right doctors. I'm taking the medicine they've prescribed. And I said, okay, what else can I do right now? Well, I can take care of my mind. I can take a little bit better care of my body. Do I have any energy? Yeah, I've got a little bit of energy. So I stood up. I started doing some breathing. I did some Qigong. It's a movement practice where you do very slow, rhythmic movements coordinated with breathing to help regulate the energy in the body. So I can do this. This is something I can do right now. Not only did it start to shift my mood, but it started to shift how I felt emotionally and how I felt in my body. So the lesson for me from that time was that realistic hope, like practical hope, isn't about creating some fantasy in the future and placing all of our expectations on it. Because the reality is that we don't control the outcome. We don't know what's going to happen. Practical hope means taking a step back and being realistic, looking at the situation around us externally. Okay, what do I actually know and what don't I know in terms of what's happening right now? But then not stopping there, looking internally and seeing, okay, what resources do I have? A practical hope recognizes that the things we do and say today have an effect. First and foremost, on our own mind, our own heart, our own emotional and mental and psychological state of well-being. The very actions that we take right here and now today begin to create and influence the inner atmosphere of our mind and our consciousness, and lay down new patterns and habits for how we're going to feel this afternoon, tomorrow, and the next day. So this is very important. Practical hope says, I can actually influence what's happening in my own heart and mind by what I choose to say, think, and do right here and now. So we're placing our sense of hope on something tangible and realistic in the present moment, that I can affect my own state of mind. And not only that, when I start to make choices and engage with my life, the circumstances, other people, the reality of the situation, in a way that's based on my own agency, that can start to have an effect on the external world, on my relationships, on the people around me, and perhaps on the wider sphere of what's happening, right? Every choice each of us makes during this time can have the effect of impacting so many other people, whether or not we choose to wear a mask, how conscious and mindful we are of keeping distance with others when we're in public. All of that has effects. So this sense of practical hope, of a more realistic hope, that takes an honest assessment of where we're at, recognizes our own internal resources and the sense of agency that we have in the present moment, and really reckons with the fact that the outcome, both personally, collectively, of where this is going isn't up to us, and what we do and say still matters. So I hope these reflections are useful for you in keeping your spirits up. This is a marathon, right, that we're all involved in right now. This isn't going to be over tomorrow or next week, even as countries and municipalities start to open up and we begin opening businesses and starting to have changes in the shelter-in-place orders. We all still need to take care with how we interact and relate to each other. And if we base our sense of energy and looking ahead on something that's more realistic and grounded in the present, we're not going to hit that cycle of crash and burn every time, the imagined future that we're looking forward to doesn't come to pass. And instead we place our trust in what we can say and do today that can make a difference. So one of the things we can do right here and now is take care of this. We can check our head, regulate our emotions, create the space and the conditions for things to settle a little bit inside so that we're less stressed, less distracted, and have better access to our intentions and our good heart. So let's do a little bit of meditation together. I'll walk you through the steps. We'll do 5 minutes, maybe a few more. And then we'll have a little bit of time to respond to some of your questions, either about what I've just shared in relation to hope, looking ahead, or meditation practice in general. So first thing to do is sit comfortably. Find a position where you can feel at ease and relaxed, where you've got some sense of energy in your body, and you're doing something important. You want to sit with a sense of dignity and uprightness. So what we're doing here, the kind of first and most important thing in a period of meditation is transitioning. We're marking, okay, I'm doing something different now. So for me, I like to take a couple of deep breaths, maybe roll my shoulders. So do whatever helps you to transition. Put your phone in silent, stretch a little bit. The next thing to do is setting an intention. So for the next 5 minutes, what if there were nothing you needed to do? You don't need to succeed. You don't need to accomplish anything. You don't need to get it right. And you don't need to worry about unfinished projects, problematic relationships, conversations that are coming up, or stuff from the past that's been weighing on your heart. It's like giving yourself a gift. It says, all right, for the next few minutes, I can just put everything down. A little vacation from my life, kind of. I can just breathe. So go ahead and take a moment and set that intention inside to just give yourself a break and put everything down. And now, as we practice, when thoughts come up and impulses related to the future, the past, all you need to do is say, yeah, thank you, later. Right now I'm on break. So go ahead and bring your attention into your body and just see if you can notice the places where your body touches the ground. The contact with the seat, your feet on the floor, your hands resting in your lap or on your knees. Feel the sensations there, a sense of heaviness, pressure. See if you can give your full attention to just feeling the steady contact with the ground. Letting everything else be exactly as it is, thoughts, emotions, sounds around you. It's like finding a home base. This is what we're doing right now, just sitting, feeling the body. You can allow your eyes to close gently or just gaze down at the ground if you like. With this sense of nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to get or have or even become. See what it's like to let your heart really take that message in. What if it were enough to just be here right now and feel your body sitting? That's it. And then as we sit quietly, you might notice that your body's breathing. Thankfully, it does it all by itself. We don't need to mess around with it, fix it, change it, manipulate it. You just begin to listen, just feeling or sensing, how do you know that you're breathing? Right here, right now. Do you feel your belly moving? Is your chest rising? You feel some tingling or coolness at your nose, around your nostrils? And so as you breathe in, you just very softly, quietly say to yourself, breathing in. As you breathe out, softly, quietly, saying in the back of your mind, breathing out. Let's do that together for another couple minutes. loosely keeping track, feeling those sensations as you sit quietly. As you breathe in, feeling the sensations of breathing in. As you breathe out, just relaxing, letting go, feeling the sensations of breathing out. If you notice any tension or tightness in your body, in your jaw, around your eyes, in your neck or shoulders, just see if you can softly relax or release that. Or like you had all the time in the world to just sit quietly, feel the breath, one moment at a time. And then in the last few moments, I invite you to just take a moment and appreciate the energy, the effort you've brought forward here. We're doing our little part to take care of our own heart and mind so that we can show up in the world with all of our gifts. Regardless of how your meditation was, we're making an effort, and it's worth noticing that. So just see if you can appreciate that inside. And then whenever you're ready, just slowly allow your eyes to open. Maybe taking a deep breath, and just widening your attention, orienting to the room where you are. If you're outside, just noticing the area around you. All right, great. So let's take a few questions and see if I can offer any more support for your meditation practice and how you're doing these days. So question here from Linda Isa. How can I help our young members of the family feel hopeful when all of their plans seem to change daily? College, seeing friends, etc. Yeah, thank you. So I think the first thing is to make space for however they're feeling, right? When someone's upset, disappointed, down about something, if we move too quickly to, oh, look at the bright side, or what about this, it kind of feels like we're denying them their experience of their emotions. So I think the first and most important thing is to just open your heart with some empathy. And just join them in that experience. Yeah, what a bummer. I can totally get how you'd be really disappointed. It sucks, doesn't it? And just have that moment of acknowledging the reality of how they feel. And then see what happens. Give them some space. See, maybe they share more. One of the most valuable things we can offer to people in our lives is our understanding, listening presence. When we do that, people have a way of figuring things out on their own, coming to a different perspective. So you might have to do less than you think. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing then is, if you feel like you want to offer something, check first. Are you open to another perspective? Because when we give advice or try to tell someone to look at things differently and they're not actually wanting it, sometimes it feels like we're not trusting them to take care of themselves, or we're stepping on their autonomy. So I would encourage you to ask permission first, particularly if it's someone younger in their life who's in the process of differentiating, finding their own identity and their own sense of place in the world. Check and see if they're open to hearing other perspectives. And then if they are, you can share anything that you want in terms of how you're looking at the situation or things you think might help them. Hope that's helpful, Linda. Question from Rebecca. Any advice about cultivating hope for yourself and others? Yeah, absolutely. That's the topic today. So again, the distinction I'm making here is between a kind of ordinary hope, which can often have the sense of magical thinking, where we create an imagined future and say, I will feel better and everything will be okay then. Instead, we need to look to what's happening right now and what can I do right here in my own life today that can move me in the direction I want to go in. That's the source of a more reliable hope. So I would encourage you to look around and see, what can you do physically, mentally, emotionally that can start to bring the qualities or the kinds of relationships or the kind of community you want to have happen. One of the great things 10% is doing is donating money every week to a local charity or food bank. Right? So is there a way that you can serve in your community, help a neighbor? Is there something else that you can do to feel like you are moving in the direction that you want to see your own life and the life of our communities move in? That's a way we can have hope, because we know regardless of what happens, I'm doing everything I can right now. And that's a place that we can trust. I hope that's helpful, Rebecca. All right, so thanks so much for joining, everyone. It's been a real pleasure to be here. Dan will be back tomorrow with Jeff Warren, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Take care. Have a good rest of your day.